With teen suicide rates on the rise during quarantine, are you worried that your teenager may be in danger of self-harm? Well, let's talk about that today on Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in helping kids, teens, and families live happier lives. I lead two organizations, the group private practice Teen Therapy Center and the nonprofit 501c3 organization Child and Teen Counseling, both here in Woodland Hills, California. Every Wednesday at noon, I jump onto Facebook Live to answer your parenting questions. Let's jump into today's question. It's a heavy one. Hey, Kent. Something I've been hearing more about lately is the rise of teen suicide since COVID hit. Our daughter certainly has been hit with some quarantine-related depression. She hasn't tried anything, and we haven't really suspected she would. Nevertheless, I keep hearing stories about parents who didn't even see it coming, and it's freaking me out. I'm wondering if you can tell me what to look out for. Is there any way I can tell if my daughter is vulnerable to suicide? Thank you for your question. Again, this is a heavy question, and it freaks every parent out. The things you want to look for are things like, is she feeling depressed? Is she, kind of isolating? Is she finding that she's not associating with her friends? She's, letting her schoolwork fall. Is she experiencing anhedonia, which is a really fancy way to say can't have fun with anything anymore? The things she used to enjoy, she just can't enjoy them anymore. Is her sleep schedule all off? Is she avoiding food? There's a lot of those little symptoms that can add up. Any of those one symptoms does not mean that your child is suicidal. You can also look at self-harm. Is she cutting, burning, scratching? Again, that is not necessarily suicidal attempts, but it could lead to something, to an attempt of suicide if left unchecked. And if these are the situations going on, I encourage you to talk to your daughter, give her the support and emotional support you need, let her know that you're here for her and you're going to get her help, whether it's a therapist or whether that's her rabbi or her minister or someone who is trained to work with kids and teens and trained to give counseling. I think is really important. Sometimes having that third outside point of view outside of the family may be beneficial. But also I encourage you just to ask your kid. Say, hey, I just want to check in with you. I'm concerned. It seems like you're really upset. Are you at all ever worried about harming yourself? Do you think about killing yourself? And right now you're thinking, I can't ask my kid that. Yes, you can. In fact, you should, because number one, you're not going to plant the seed of, not like they were depressed and say, hey, I wasn't thinking about suicide, but now that dad asked me about it, that sounds like a great idea. That's not how it works. Generally, it's the opposite. Generally, if you let your kid know, hey, I'm concerned about this, and this is a worry of mine, if they're not worried about it, they'll say, no, that's not me. Or they may tear up and start crying and say, yeah, sometimes. And if that's the case, do not get angry. Go towards love. Give her a hug or give him a hug. Say, it's okay, I'm here for you. I understand how tough it is right now. I'm going to help you through this. We're going to get you help. No, I don't want to talk to someone. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Again, if you can just get her in to see a therapist, whether it's on a Zoom session because of quarantine or in the office. Right now, half of our clients are in the office, half are online, depending on everyone's comfort level. If you usually get her here, we can usually help, or another therapist who works with teens. But it's really important that you get her the help and don't ignore it. Another thing is, let's say you think your kid is doing fine. She's keeping up with her school, she's socializing, but you hear about those kids who have a suicide and it's like it came out of nowhere. Talk to them too. Say, hey, I've been hearing, I've been reading stories, I've been hearing this thing on Facebook about teen suicide on the rise. I just want to check in. I just want to, peace of mind. Are you ever thinking about that? And then they say, no, what are you talking about? That's nuts. What are you talking about, Mom or Dad? And that's fine. That probably means they're not thinking about it, and you're not going to plant the seed that they will. But if they don't say that, well, maybe they do think about it. It's really common for people to think about suicide. Acting on it is something else, obviously. And we want to make sure that the acting out on it doesn't happen. So again, get help. Also, other things in the house, make sure medication's locked up in a safe. If you have rope in the garage, get rid of it. If you have firearms, get rid of them, or at least make sure they're locked up in a safe, and there's no way possible your kid can have that combination. In fact, if you haven't changed the combination in a while, change it again. because there are many instances where kids find the combination because it's grandma's birthday or something like that, and they use it. So really make sure you keep those things locked up. Kitchen knives, you can't get rid of kitchen knives. You got to cook. But if you're worried about your kid, you're worried they're in that place of possibly self-harm, make sure they're never home alone. If you're going to go to the store, take them with you. Leaving them home alone for long periods of time is not the best solution. But more importantly, don't get angry. I know it may scare you, but instead of going from a place of anger, go from a place of love and compassion. Because anger is not going to make them stop feeling suicidal, but love can. And that's the most important thing, is if they're feeling loved and connected to you, they're less likely to make an attempt. But get them help if they need it. Thanks again for your question. We love your questions. If you have a question you'd like me to answer next week on Tips on Teens, email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com, or you can direct message us right here on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks again. I'm Kent Toussaint from Teen Therapy Center and Child and Teen Counseling, and we'll see you next Wednesday at noon. Bye-bye.